What's up, guys? My name is Gabe and welcome into the Trojan Blade. Real fun discussion today as we're looking at 5 potential breakout candidates for our USC Trojans. There are so many young players on this roster that if given an opportunity could absolutely ascend into a top level talent. But who is it going to be and why? That's what we're discussing today. But before we go any further, if you are enjoying these videos, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, please make sure to check out both my Patreon and my channel memberships that are linked down below, as those really help me to do this full time. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Let's get into this. All right, so before we kick this off, I do want to say that I won't be including guys like Miller Moss or Jacoby Lane on this list, as I feel like they already broke out in the Holiday Bowl. So this list is going to be for those guys that we haven't seen be a part of the national college football discussion in 2024 like those two guys have. A lot of people are talking about Miller Moss. A lot of people are talking about Jacoby Lane. All right, so moving to the list. First up here, you guys know I'm a former offensive lineman, so we've got to start up front. And we are talking about the man himself, Elijah Page. Now, Elijah is somebody, and I said this when he flipped from ND to USC, but this is a guy that's going to be a future All-American and a first-round pick. I still believe that wholeheartedly, and his performance in the Holiday Bowl only made me feel stronger about that. Elijah is going to take the country by storm this upcoming season. This is as skilled and polished an offensive line prospect as I've ever seen. And yeah, I said skilled there. There's a huge misconception out there that it doesn't require skill to play offensive line. That's not the case. When you're a lineman, particularly a tackle, you're one-on-one on an island backpedaling against what is usually the best athlete on the field when you're talking about these modern day edge rushers. You've got to be light on your feet, you have to read and react, you have to be strong, you have to be smart, and most importantly, you've got to flip that switch and try to demoralize and crush the man across from you. In my interactions with Elijah, he seems like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, but watching his film, he flips that switch. He's a finisher, and that is something that was terribly lacking from last year's squad. He's got every tool you could possibly need, and there's no doubt in my mind he's going to be regarded as one of the top tackles in the country come season's end. And again, that's very high praise when you're talking about a second-year player playing tackle that only has 1 start under his belt. But when Elijah had no starts under his belt, if you just watch him, you can tell he's going to be an insane player. And then he goes out in the bowl game and lives up to expectations. So there you have it. I don't know what more people need to see. Elijah's going to be a star. The rest of the country doesn't know about him, but they will very soon. All right, next up, I want to talk about one of the more underrated players on this Trojan defense. He shined in a few opportunities last year. I am, of course, talking about defensive back Traquan Fagans. This is a player that I am really fascinated to see what he turns into. He was the standout player for me in the Oregon game last year. When it comes to overall performance in the 2023 season, I'm throwing a lot of things out when it comes to our defensive players. Knowing the extreme level of incompetence at the top with Alex Grinch and just a lot of the defensive staff, I don't think it's fair to entirely judge these players on what they did last year. But when you watch Fagans, he succeeded in spite of that horrible coaching. Of course, when he played well, he didn't get a lot of opportunities last year, which was very on brand for the Grinch era at USC. But he has those natural playmaking instincts that you just can't coach, and it's clear that he's a very smart football player as well. That will carry you a long way in this game. And now that he appears to actually have competent people coaching him up, I think we could be seeing a whole lot more of number 23 this season making plays in the Trojan secondary. And again, I'm not sure where he'll be playing exactly. Is he going to play corner? Is he going to play nickel? Is he going to move over to safety? I assume he'll be in that nickel hybrid role, but again, that remains to be seen. Wherever he is on the field, I think he's going to be a very, very productive player. Was very excited to see him ball out in that Oregon game. Obviously excited to see where he is in spring and if he can make his way into that starting lineup. All right, next up here, we flip back over to the offensive side of the ball and talk about Maki Lemon. Now, Maki was a player that towards the tail end of last year was playing corner and everything seemed to be pointing to a potential departure. Then the Holiday Bowl happened and we finally saw glimpses of that star wideout we saw week in, week out at Los Alamitos. Last year, he would be in and out of the lineup. He wasn't targeted by Caleb Williams much at all when he was out there, and he did get open from time to time as well. So it seemed to me like Caleb and Maki just didn't get much work together in practice. If there was one thing that was made clear about Caleb, it's that if he didn't trust you, he was not going to throw you the ball. But you know who did get a bunch of reps with Maki in practice? It was Miller Moss. He had trust in Lemon, and that really showed through in the bowl game. It was by far his best performance of the year, and I really think that could catapult him into 2024 and make him a big part of the Trojan passing attack. Sticking with the offense here, my number 4 breakout candidate is tight end Carson Tabarra. Now, Carson's someone that I've really been fascinated to see what he grows into. For any of you who don't know his path, He first enrolled at Utah, then he transferred over to SC as a linebacker. Then due to our absolutely depleted numbers in the tight end room, he made the switch over last season. He did play tight end in high school, so it wasn't completely new to him. But with Lake McCree being the guy there, he didn't really get his chance to shine. But due to that awful injury that Lake suffered in bowl practices, Carson became tight end 1. And I thought he made a great case to really cement his role in the offense next year. And look, you guys know how big a fan I am of Lake McCree. But what excited me about Carson is what he provides after the catch. He's a big-time athlete that can really get it moving after he catches the ball downfield. I was impressed by him as a blocker in the bowl game as well. Don't get me wrong, still a lot of work to do there, but I'm more optimistic than concerned in that department. I feel like we really missed the tight end as a big play threat last year. And look, Caleb wasn't really a guy that threw to the tight end a lot anyway. I do think Miller will do that more. Just naturally, when you're hanging in the pocket longer like how Miller does, you'll end up throwing to the tight end more as they usually have more in-breaking middle of the field routes. So again, I feel so bad for Lake. The timing of that injury is brutal, but with that comes opportunity for the other guys, and I really feel like Carson has a chance to be the guy that really takes that and runs with it. Okay, and last up here, we close out with fan favorite pass rusher Brenden Shelby. Yes, you heard that right, pass rusher. Contrary to popular belief, he is an edge player. I know many of you would prefer to see him sticking to his role of covering wheel routes 40 yards downfield, but here we are. In all seriousness though, Brenden is a physical freak that flashed last year. He has every single physical trait you would see in a future first-round pick. It's all about harnessing it and unleashing his potential. If this is a guy as talented as he is, if he becomes what he could be, we could be looking at one of the better pass rushers in USC history by the end of his career here. If you spent any time watching UCLA football over the last few years, which I did, man, let me tell you, if you're having a bad day at work or trouble with the wife and you just want to sit down and watch a 3.5 hour long comedy special, just turn on any UCLA home game. It's so good for the soul to see them get their ass kicked in that empty stadium. But if you did watch them, I'm sure you noticed Laiatu Latu, and Brenden will be in that exact role this year. So it will be interesting to see how he gets on playing that spot. If this defense is going to take that huge jump we need it to, an edge rusher has to step up and become a big time and reliable player. And I think Brenden has a clear shot of doing exactly that. When you talk about size, speed, strength, get off, I mean, Brenden honestly has every one of those traits that you look for. So if he hits on his potential, this could be an all-American first-round pick kind of guy. And man, that would do absolute wonders for this USC defense. All right, guys, so those are my 5 players. Of course, there are more. I could do 10 or 15. I mean, there's so much to talk about here. So if you guys want another one of these videos breaking down another 5 guys, please let me know down below in the comments. And of course, I want your opinions as well. Do you agree with the 5 guys I picked? And if not, who are your 5? So please let me know down below. And if you did happen to enjoy this video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The support on the channel has been absolutely outstanding. Again, my goal is to get it up to 10,000 subs by the start of next season. So I really hope we can do it. I'm very optimistic about it. So again, guys, hit that subscribe button if you could. I really appreciate it. And of course, you guys are all awesome. And as always, take care and fight on.